A couple of weeks ago, I received a letter that changed my life, certainly changed the course of my life in politics. And I'm going to read you that letter now and let you know that the author of it is sitting across from me. It reads, "My name is Philip Turney. I am 77 years old today. On June 8th, 1967, I was just 20 years old when the gallant crew of the USS Liberty was savagely attacked. Our American flag was proudly flying on our ship in the Mediterranean Sea that day. The designation AGTR-5 was clearly painted on the bow, port, and starboard sides. USS Liberty was written in English on her stern. When we arrived on June 7th, we were overflown by Israeli reconnaissance aircraft, and the same activity was repeated on the morning of June 8th. We were positively identified as American and friendly by the IDF. We had requested a destroyer escort long before we entered the Mediterranean, but we were denied twice. Our captain assured us that we were clearly marked as American and we therefore had nothing to fear. We were alone, 12.5 miles off the coast of the Sinai Peninsula, always in international waters. The Israeli reconnaissance aircraft were clearly marked with the Star of David. We therefore felt secure, seeing a flying boxcar and other smaller recon propeller aircraft taking good care of us. The attack began at 2 o'clock on a beautiful, bright, sunny day by French-made Mirage and Mistral jets painted black with no markings. We had no clue who was attacking us, but assumed it was an Arab state. During the first pass-by, the jets took out all but one of our transmitting antennas, as well as every watertight door above the waterline. The air attack lasted about 25 minutes, killing and maiming our firefighters and any sailor who moved. Our radio man took one antenna offline, so it wasn't transmitting and wasn't hit. He ran a long wire to it, and the SOS went out to the 6th Fleet. It was even picked up as far away as Vietnam. Rockstar, Rockstar, under attack by an unknown jet aircraft. Help us, help us. Captain Tully, skipper of the USS Saratoga, sent jets to come to our aid. Before the jets hit the horizon, they were recalled by Secretary of Defense Robert McNamara. Captain Engen of the USS America and Tully relaunched more aircraft to aid us. They were also recalled, this time by Lyndon Baines Johnson himself. He said, quote, "I don't care about a few dead sailors. I will not embarrass my ally, Israel. Return to base immediately," end quote. How did he know who was attacking us if we did not? We were set up by our own government to let a foreign government have their way with us. The IDF even dropped napalm on the bridge of our ship. How low they would go, we would soon find out. 3 motor torpedo boats headed our way, and one torpedo hit our starboard side. We saw the Star of David on the boats. They were there to sink us. The attack continued for another hour and a half. Attacking jet aircraft destroyed all but 3 of our life rafts, which we had put overboard. We were going to place our most seriously wounded in them so that they would have a chance at life. But the IDF would have none of that. They shot 2 of them out of the water and took one aboard their boats as a trophy of the kill. They continued shooting and killing my mates. They left and we thought that it was over, but it wasn't. IDF helicopters were sent with troops armed and ready to board our ship and finish us off. Then they just left. I guess the gig was up when the mighty IDF could not sink our defenseless ship. When it was all done, there were over 821 rocket and cannon holes and over 5,000 armor-piercing bullets riddling the ship. Napalm was burning us up, and a 40 by 40-foot torpedo hole was in her side, causing the ship to list badly to our starboard side. We then waited 17 hours for help. I guess they hoped that we would sink that night. Help was only 40 minutes away from us, but they left us out alone to die. When the USS America and the USS Davis arrived to help us, they took our wounded to care for them. Their wounds were so horrific, words cannot explain. Admiral Kidd boarded our ship a few days later, and the cover-up immediately began. We were ordered to never speak of the attack to anyone, not even with one another. Penalties would be fines, imprisonment, or worse, and we all knew that worse meant death. We have been treated like garbage for the last 57 years. Congress has been bought and paid for, with the exception, over the years, of a few brave lawmakers. Their names are Representatives Pete McCloskey, Paul Findley, and Jim Traficant. As the courageous Rep. Thomas Massey has noted, all Republican members of Congress except for him have AIPAC handlers. We can assume this is also true of nearly all Democrats. We are the most decorated ship in naval history for a single engagement. I believe God saved us that day to allow us to communicate the truth of this attack to leaders like you. We give all power to Jesus Christ. We are just his servants that horrible day and now. The USS Liberty survivors are the biggest whistleblowers this country has ever seen. We have been smeared as anti-Semitic, Jew haters, and Nazis. Our only sin is that we survived. We didn't kill anyone. Israel did all the murdering that day, and the U.S. government did all the covering up. I'm asking you to help us save America by telling others the facts about the slaughter of my mates. We are begging you to support us. Respectfully, Phil Turney, the president of the USS Liberty Veterans Association. Great honor to have you here today.
Thank you, Candace. It's a great honor for me to be here and represent the gallant crew of the USS Liberty that have been treated so badly, as I said in the letter, for 57 years. We had into the Mediterranean, and to go through the Rock of Gibraltar and all that, and all the ships were going this way, going the other way, and we were the only one going that way.
Okay. And still nobody's informing you about the 6-Day War?
We did find out that we were going into a war zone.
Okay. And what information, if any, did they give you?
None.
None.
We got there on the 7th, and the Israelis started overflying us then, taking pictures of us. Same thing happened on the June the 8th. Flying boxcar, which is a 2-engine plane. The doors were open. You could see the cameraman taking pictures of us.
So they're that close. They're that low.
Oh, yeah. You could see the pilots. We would wave at them. They'd wave at us. Very friendly. They would dip their wings like everything's great. And we felt good because our best friends were there. And we had no worries. I mean, none at all, because they were going to protect us. But it ended up they didn't. In fact, the Israelis identified us as American and friendly.
How do you know that?
Well, we know it because of the intercept we picked up, and they admitted it themselves. We were on their war table. They identified us as American. They knew exactly what they were doing. Exactly what they were doing. When they overflew us, they took the pictures of all the ship. They knew exactly what to hit and when to hit it. And I might add, I believe, and I think most of my shipmates believe, that this attack was planned a year in advance.
A year in advance?
Yes.
What makes you say that?
Well, there was another spy ship in the area, SS Valdez. It was a civilian manned ship, but it was owned by the Navy. It could have done the same thing that we were doing, but they took them out of the area. Sinking the USS Liberty is a hell of a lot sexier than sinking the Valdez.
Why is that?
Well, it's all American sailors and Marines. They wanted this at the bottom, and so they could blame it on the Arab states and bring us into World War III. First thing I remember was all hands get to your general quarter stations. We're under attack. We're under attack. And I got to my GQ station, which is in the front part of the ship. And those two men that I just left there, not a minute it took me to get back up there. They were dead. They're blown to bits. Anything that moved aboard that ship, they were shot at. As in the letter, they took out all of our antennas within 3 seconds. Our 450 caliber machine guns were gone. Every watertight door was hit. And this went on for 25 minutes, dropping napalm on us. 25 minutes of that, you can't imagine. Every second was like an hour. We saw the torpedo boats coming. We thought, the Star of David, oh, good. Because these were unmarked jet aircraft. We didn't know who was attacking us. We thought it was the Arabs. And then we saw the torpedo boats, and the Star of David. Oh, man, here's our best friends who are going to come help us. No, they come to sink us.
So they took out
everything.
The antennas instantly, the fire hoses instantly, so you couldn't take out fire.
He took that antenna offline because it wasn't working. So they didn't hit it because they were using heat-seeking missiles to hit all the antennas. Because when they're tuning, they throw off heat. and they took them all out except that one, and he got, thank God. I mean, there's reasons for all this happened, and he got hooked up, rock star, and like I said, it went to Vietnam. The Sixth Fleet picked it up. They automatically sent aircraft from the Saratoga and Captain Tully, and before they even hit the horizon, McNamara says, "Bring those aircraft back. Do not help Liberty. Turn around."
So, our Secretary of Defense, I mean, this attack could, in theory, since he was able to get that message out, in theory, the attack could have been over how long after it started?
Well, almost immediately, we were set up by our own government to die.
So Robert McNamara, who in interviews thereafter says he doesn't remember a single thing that happened that day. That's what he told the Chicago Tribune. He doesn't remember anything that happened that day. He recalls them back. Um, and then what happens?
Then the America and Tully reconfigured their aircraft, and they sent aircraft again because they went to a different command. They wanted, it was their prerogative to go to a different, higher
Because they're
command.
thinking, what do you mean pull us back? Like our
Right.
American.
And then LBJ gets on the phone, and his exact words were, "I don't give a GD if all those sailors die. I'm not going to embarrass my ally Israel," like I said in the letter. Now, how did he know that if we didn't know it? Who was attacking us?
So they then have the president of the United States. So this guy's trying to do the right thing, Captain Tully. He's like, we're going to help them. He gets called back by the Secretary of Defense. He's thinking, I'm going to go over his head because this is crazy. And now the president of the United States is saying, I don't care. I don't give a GD if they die. I am not going to embarrass our friend and ally Israel. So he knew.
He knew. And, they destroyed Captain Tully's career, too. They fired him. He got fired for doing that. He was a World War II fighter pilot, very, very highly decorated, good man. In fact, he came to one of our reunions and broke down like a baby and cried. Said, I'm sorry, I couldn't help you. It wouldn't let me. And he took that to his grave. He was a broken man. We had none to fight back with but our will and our wits and with God's beautiful hand on us. In fact, when that ship got torpedoed, it was like the hand of God was holding us up because it was going like that, ready to roll over. It just stopped. First thing we saw was several days later when Admiral Kidd got there, and we told him everything, what happened, and why didn't you come help us, and this and that. And he took off his stars. He says, "I'm just like your dad." He said, "Well, he had 4 or 5 of us in sick bay at the time. 3 stars out there. And he said, "I'm just like your dad. Please tell me everything you saw." We told him about the machining of the life rafts with the machining gun of all the people, the helicopters, everything that went on. And then he put his stars back on. He says, he got beat red and he got right in my face. He says, "I'm telling you, you better never talk about this again to anybody. I'll make sure you end up in prison, fined, or worse." You know what worse means? I said, "Yes, sir, I do." There were also the USS Andrew Jackson there and the USS Amberjack, our submarines, that didn't come help us. I heard they filmed it from the Amberjack. They probably got the film right now. Uh,
When we are speaking about APAC, um, for the marriage, I would say, between the United States government and APAC, we can attribute that to Lyndon Baines Johnson. How does it make you feel to know that actually, you know, he was in fact more loyal to Israel?
no, absolutely, much more loyal.
That's just how did we go from a president who wanted to stop this to a president that was involved in the underground and was pushing our government to get more involved with Israel? It leads, I mean, it certainly, I think it's fair for people to wonder what it is that is classified and that they're so afraid to release to the public about JFK's remarkably suspicious death.
Is our country really America first, or is it Israel first?
Are we an occupied nation?
I think we're an occupied nation.